People are a hassle. It's tough, but it's true. They lie, cheat, steal, and are motivated by silly things. Yes, people are a hassle. A philosopher isn't someone who retreats only among books, living in a fantastic world of ideas. A philosopher for the Stoics is engaged in everyday life, around people. Mark Aurelius says, "Be good to people, be patient with them." He says, "People are our proper occupation." In today's episode, we'll give some Stoic rules to get the most out of the people around you and not let crazy and annoying things they do influence you. It's strange. We don't just care about the opinions of others. We care about the opinions of people in the future we'll never meet. Marcus Aurelius says, "People who long for posthumous fame forget that they won't be around to enjoy it. But people in the future will be just as foolish, silly, ridiculous, and obsessed with trends and valuing the wrong things as people now. So what matters is what you think. He says we love ourselves more than other people, but we care about their opinion more than our own. It's insane. You know what's right. You know what you value. You know what's important. You know what your principles are. That's what you have to measure yourself against. What you're capable of. What you're trying to do. External approval, external validation, external results are secondary. How many views this gets is not important. Did I say what I wanted to say? Did I do what I wanted to do? Did I bring my best self to it? That's what matters. Marcus Aurelius says when you wake up in the morning, tell yourself who you're going to meet. The cunning, the deceitful, the frivolous, the jealous, the ridiculous. He says you're going to meet them, but you can't let them implicate you in their ugliness. He says you have to figure out how to be honest and true to yourself and to them, even though that's the furthest thing from what they're capable of doing. Seneca says the most important thing is to be good in a world where there are so many bad people. When someone hurts you or says something rude or screws something up or does something bad, the question to ask, says Marcus Aurelius, is, when have I done that? When have I acted like that? Because you probably have, right? We all do things. What do you think about that? And why did you do it? Most of the time it was because you didn't know. Most of the time you were trying your best. And even when it was a real mistake, something you know you shouldn't have done, the reality is you understand that that doesn't make you a bad person. So when people hurt us, betray us, or make mistakes, we have to remember that they are like us. Don't blame them. Don't exclude them. We will give them empathy, the same empathy that we regularly give ourselves. People are a hassle, I've said it. It's tough, but it's true. Marcus Aurelius opens Meditations reflecting on how people are a hassle, how they lie, cheat, steal, and are motivated by silly and ridiculous things. Yes, people are a hassle. But he also says in Meditations that the only thing that is not worthless in this life is to do what is right, to be good. And then he says to be patient with those who aren't. People are a hassle, people are problematic, people present countless obstacles for us. Yet this is an opportunity to practice Stoicism, to practice self-discipline, to practice fairness even in the face of injustice. So, a Stoic accepts reality without hesitation and doesn't change what he believes to be his duty in this world. Happy is he who makes others better. I think that's what a Stoic is. Not just a role model, but an inspiration. Someone who makes others better by the example he gives, by the work he does, by the good he does for his community. That's what Stoicism means. Epictetus says not to talk about philosophy, but to embody it. Make others better by being your best self. This is the benefit. You make yourself happy because you see the good you do in the world, and the people around you. And that's why Stoics work so hard all the time. Cicero jests about Cato, saying that Cato lived as if he were inside Plato's Republic rather than living in the bowels of Romulus. It means that Cato lived as if he were in a perfect world, as if everyone were good, as if being good was the only thing that mattered. He didn't care that the people around him were corrupt. He didn't care that no one else had hope. He didn't care that things were bad or falling apart. What mattered to him was what was right, and he ignored what was happening outside. So, when we look at all the things happening in the world, all all the things that can make us lose hope, all the things that can break our hearts, all the things that can make us despair, all the things that can disgust us. We do what a Stoic does, which is tune them out, focusing on what's right, as Marcus Aurelius says. That's what you have to do. The rest doesn't matter. All the rest is irrelevant. Just do the right thing. Ignore what's happening outside. You might think Stoics are a bit insensitive, and I understand that, but it's not true at all. Seneca says that if you want love in your life, then love. Marcus Aurelius says he learned from one of his mentors to be free from passions. Yes, but full of love. Do you have affection for others? If you want to feel good, if you want to be loved by others, put something good into the world because, in the end, that's what you control. If you want to feel better, don't expect others to validate you, to give you what you want. Give what you want. If you want to feel loved, put love into the world. Put affection into the world. See every person you meet, as Seneca says, as an opportunity to practice kindness, and the rest will take care of itself. I promise you, there's a great quote. Comparison is the thief of joy. It comes from Theodore Roosevelt. When you compare yourself to others, you feel like you have less, feel like you are less. And in Meditations, Marcus says, think about how foolish it is to envy people without really thinking about who they are and how their life is. And then he says, think about all the envious people. The idea for the Stoics is to perform these mental exercises to combat these emotional impulses, temptations, or destructive thought habits. Like you don't need to be jealous of others, first and foremost, because probably others are jealous of you. You would be jealous of yourself if your situation were different. So the idea is simply to be content with what you have, accept what you have, make what you have be sufficient. As Epicurus says, quoted by Seneca, sufficient is never sufficient for the one who considers sufficient too little. The Stoics practice memento mori. Life is short. You can go at any moment, and it applies to the people who are dear to you. You don't own them. You can't take them for granted. You can't assume they'll be here forever. You can't presume to have them always. You don't have them now. They are here on loan. They are here with precarious status. So you can't take people for granted. You can't take time for granted. Don't go to bed angry. Don't hold grudges. Be with them now while you can. Forgive now while you can. Appreciate now while you can. Enjoy now while you can. That's the only thing we can do. Memento mori. You could leave life in this moment. You could leave life in this moment. Let this determine what you do, say, and think, especially with the people who matter most to you. Subscribe to the channel for more Stoic advice.